Hi everyone, today we're going to learn how to play the guitar solo from Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen, and it sounds like this. So my name's Ollie from Your Guitar Academy, and in this Crazy Little Thing Called Love guitar lesson, we're going to go through all the scales and techniques that you need to be able to play this solo. There's also a little lead into the solo which we're going to look at as well. So before we get started, just remember, if you click in the description below, there's a link to our website where we've got a full write-up of this lesson, including all the scales that you're going to need. All right, so let's get started. So, before this solo actually happens here, there's this little lick that sounds like this, which I think is just such a cool lick, it's worth just getting into this video. So first of all, let's just look at the scale that we're using. It's all based around this shape 1, minor pentatonic in D, D minor. Okay? But we're adding a few extra notes here. It actually gets a bit chromatic as well, which is why it sounds so cool. That's why I wanted to look at it. So let's just look at the frets as we go through. So it starts with your little finger on the 13th fret of the E string, and then it comes down to the 12th fret, and then it's down to the 10th fret. So, and then it comes to the 13th fret on the B string, and then back up to the 10th fret on the E string. So you get this. And I would do the 11 to the 10 as a pull off. Gives you time to pick that B string. Okay, and then we've got a very similar thing happening from the B to the G string. But not quite the same. So, and then it's 13, 12, 10, so. But then we've got a hammer on and a pull off from the 11th fret on the B string, sorry. So that's where it starts getting a bit chromatic. Okay? Because we're not going to get all four of those notes in the same scale, so we've got some chromatic stuff happening. So it's hammer on to the 11th fret and then pull off back to the 10th fret. So what we've got so far is, okay, and then we round it off with a sort of a run down this blues scale into that. So those frets, it comes down to the G string. It is again 13, 12, 10. So we've got, and then we back up to the 12th, and then we finish on the 12th fret on the D string, which is the root note. Okay, if I get up close so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And I'll do that a bit more slowly. Alright, so yeah, that's just a little lead-in lick before the solo starts proper. I think it's kind of behind some of the singing and stuff like that, but it does stand out in the mix and it's really cool sounding. So that's definitely one to just practice. It's actually quite speedy as well. So you're going to need to make use of your hammer-ons and pull-offs. Pull off there, sorry. And then hammer on, pull off. And then it's pull off, pull off. And then two pick notes at the end. All right, and then we get into the solo proper. So it just leads in with this, which is still staying in that D minor sort of shape. Taken from that shape 1. Okay, and we're just using our index finger to fret on the 10th fret, on the E string and the B string. But you can do a little slide from the 9th fret. But you're not going to hear that as its own note, it's just slide in. Okay? Now, after this, I think it's really important to think about what the chords are doing as well. because the solo actually changes key and it follows the chords exactly as we go through. So after that, when the solo starts, we're in B flat major. And then it changes to D major. And then back to B flat major. And then it changes a bit after that. We'll look at that when we get to it. But just remember, because they're in different keys, there's not really one scale that's completely easily fit over both of them. So what we're doing here is actually, as the chords change, we're going to change scale as well. And I'll talk about that as we go through. So that's our sort of lead in right into the solo proper. And then chords B flat major, we're going to play. That's the first lick, and that is all in B flat major from B flat major pentatonic shape 4. So if I get close, you can see here it is. Okay. Remember, on our site, if you click the link in the description below, we'll have all these scale diagrams that you need as well. But I really think it's, rather than just learning it sort of note for note, it's really useful to think about what chords, why he's playing these notes, and it's all from the chords underneath. So we're in this shape 4. Okay, 13th fret on the B string. That's what we're doing. So it's the 13th fret, full bend up. 3 times, and then a release, and then down to the 11th fret on the B string, and then 13, back to 11, and then it's another bend up on the 13th fret, always also a full tone, and then with your little finger, catch the 13th fret on the E string. We're not bending the E string, so that might take a bit of work on your bending technique if you're new to bending. What you want to do is bend from your wrist. It's a rotation of your whole forearm, really. It's a lot stronger than just doing it with your fingers, like that sort of thing. And what we find is if you're trying to do it with just your fingers, you'll get your fingers stuck under the strings, which is never fun. But if you're doing this rotation, the strings just sort of get pushed out of the way. And because you're using the strength from your arm, it allows your little finger to stay independent and play that high E string on the 13th fret without bending it. So here we go. Let's look at those notes again. So that's 13, bend, again, 13, and then release, and then it's 11, 13, 11, bend up 13, and then up to the 13th fret on the E string. And that's it, that's all over the B flat major, and then the chords change to a D. So we're going to change to a D. Now, in that little lead in, I guess we're thinking about it more as a D minor, bluesy kind of lick. Now we're looking at D major pentatonic, shape 2. And we're up on the high string still. So, the lick from there goes. Okay, so that's the next little bit that we're going for, which has got some really nice minor to major bluesy licks in it as well. So let's just go through it. That same thing again, index finger on the B string and the E string, 10th fret, and it's just a quick slide up from the 9th fret. And then use your 3rd finger to hit, to fret, sorry, both the G string and the B string on the 12th fret. Okay? Which is a kind of a bluesy sound. That's a double stop. And then again, index finger, mini bar, just like we've been doing, but now it's on the 10th fret on the G and the B string. And so we hit it, we're hammering on with our middle finger on the G string, from the 10th fret, which we're fretting with our index finger, onto the 11th fret. So that's the minor to major thing. So again, we're playing a little bit out of the scale, but we're very quickly straight back into it, and that gives us a sort of a resolution to it. And then the lick from there is hammer on on the B string from the 11th fret, sorry, 10th fret now, to the 12th, and then up to the 10th fret on the E string. So that whole bit in D major, okay, so we're getting close. We'll go through that slowly. So that lick on its own at the end, that's a great one that you can just throw in a lot of things. So I'll practice that on its own. And just that little bar gives it a bit more character as well. Okay, so let's look at the first two. Put together, I'll do it normal speed and then a bit slower. So we've always got this to begin with. Then B flat. D. Okay, I'll do that again slowly. B flat. D. All right, and then after that, back to B flat, and the lick sounds like this. So it's very similar to the first one we did, except now we're doing that bend and then catching the high E string with our little finger right from the beginning of this lick. So you're going to have to really work on getting that bending technique happening where you can independently use your little finger from actually bending here. So you don't want to have that where you're bending the high E as well. Okay, so that lick, if we go through it fret by fret, it's 13, bend up a full tone on the B string, and then 13 on the E string, twice, and then we've got this hit, we're going to stay on the bend, and then release, and then pull off to the 11th fret there. And then to finish it off, we do another bend up, and then from the 13th fret, full tone bend, and then catch the high E string on the 13th fret. Okay. Just a note about what I'm saying when I say full tone bend or whole tone bend is that's 2 frets on the guitar. A half bend is 1 fret, and then sometimes you get quarter as well, which is like in between even more. But with the half step and full bends, you can actually practice that with a tuner. Just hear the note that you're on, C, we're bending up a whole tone, which is to a D there. So I just keep bending until I get to a D, and then you kind of have to remember what that feels like in your hand. That's the easiest way, is the most reliable way, I think, is to get the tension right, rather than having to listen to it all the time to get up to speed. Okay, so let's go through those licks that we've got so far, and then we'll look at the last lick. So. Okay, that's where we're up to now. Then we've got this last lick. Okay, and this is actually my favourite lick of the whole solo. It's a little bit different to what, for me anyway, to what I would expect to hear. It's a little bit more arpeggio based than just playing scales. Okay, and what's happening here with the chords is it's going, so it's going from E to A, and then to F. And actually, if we look at it in detail, you can still say it's following the chords as we go through. So there, over the E, we could be in shape 1, E minor pentatonic. And we've got this. This is becoming a feature of this solo. The semitone slide up when you're fretting on 2 strings. Okay, so it's from the 11th up to the 12th fret. And then you're going to do little finger on the 15th fret of the B string, and then back up to the 12th fret on the E string. So you get, and then the next bit is, and that is where the chords have changed to A. So you could say we're in shape 5 of A major pentatonic. Remember, if you're unsure about what I mean when I'm saying shape 4, shape 5, have a look on our website. We have chord diagrams there and plenty of detailed lessons as well that will explain it all to you. So, E and then A. So let's look at what we're doing here. So instead of just playing this A major pentatonic, we're starting a semitone off from the minor third and we're bending up. This time it is a semitone bend to the major third. So it's on the 13th fret of the B string, and I'm using my middle finger for that because that's the nearest finger from what we've played before. And then I'm running down this scale. So we're going bending up to the 13th fret, bending up semitone, then onto the G string, 14th fret, 11th fret, and then onto the D string, 14th fret. So, all right, and that to me is just a really tasty lick. With that little bend there, sounds great. Okay, and it feels a little bit different to play. It's not the usual pentatonic shape. Okay, and try and get that bend really to come out. Okay, so let's go through it slowly. All right, and I'll just go through the frets again. So it's 12th fret, mini bar on the E and the B, and then B string, 15th fret, E string, 12th fret, semitone bend, 13th fret on the B string, then down to the G string, 14th fret, G string, 11th fret, D string, 14th fret. And then we're up to finish off the solo, we're going. Okay. We've just got quite a fast bend on that bit. So let's look at the string we're on. G string, 14th fret, index finger now. So you're going to have a bit of a jump. Okay, but index finger, 14th fret, G string, twice, and then it's a little bend up on the 16th fret with your third finger. It's a bend up, down, and then a pull off back to the 14th fret. So that's something to practice on its own as well. Again, really useful in any solo that you happen to be playing. And then it's 16, 14 on the D string. Sorry, I was thinking of the previous lick. Hang on, let's go through that again. So that's it. We just have the little bend. And then we're back 16, 14 on the G string. So that last lick is. All right. So let's just put that last bit together. Slow and then normal speed. Okay, so I'll play through the whole lot now. I'll do it separate. So I'll do that little lead-in lick, and then I'll do the whole solo. I'll do them both fast, and then, or normal speed, and then I'll do them slowly. Okay, so this lead in lick, we'll go fast. Okay, and now a bit more slowly. I'll get up close for this one. Okay, and then the full solo. Okay, and then we'll do that at a slower speed. I'll get in a bit closer. Cool. So that should be everything you need to be able to play that solo from Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen. Remember, if you're unsure about any of the scales I've used, or if you wanted to learn more about how to use these scales, check out the link in our description below. There'll be links to our website where we've got a full write-up of this lesson, including the solos I'm using for this specific thing, and loads of other stuff as well. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see all the other videos we do. All right, thanks, and I'll see you next time.